Hello, everybody, and welcome to my final case study for my building leadership endorsement. In my case study in EDL 853, when a student's rights are wronged. First of all, let's summarize this case in section 1. Miguel Hernandez family moved to Dover. He is a sophomore and a very talented athlete. Miguel attends Nottingham High School, and it serves about 3,200 students. Miguel was the starting quarterback. He was a good teammate and the first sophomore to ever earn this position. In one of the last games of the season, Miguel suffered a spinal cord injury in a final play of the game and became paralyzed from the waist down. He was supported in the months after his injury by the community, his school, his friends. When he was ready to return to school, prior to his return, there was a meeting held at the school with several members of the school staff and his parents. It was determined that he wouldn't need any other recommendations other than access to his classes, as he was confined to a wheelchair during the school day. And again, no other accommodations, just that he needed access to his classes. Mrs. Gussman assured Miguel's parents, following permission from his doctor, that he would be welcomed back to school. 2 weeks following the meeting, Miguel returned to school, and myself, the principal, honored him in a welcome back assembly the morning of his return. Miguel reported to his first period and then got called out of class to go to the office. Mrs. Gussman had to change his schedule and take him out of his biology class because it wasn't accessible with his wheelchair. His new science class would meet graduation requirements, but wasn't a college prep class like biology. Mrs. Hernandez, Miguel's mother, called the next morning to schedule a meeting with the principal, myself. She demanded he had been denied access to his biology class and requested he be reinstated immediately in that course. Mr. Hernandez showed up shortly thereafter with Howard Carey, their family attorney. "My client has lost the right to FAPE, a free and public education," said Mr. Carey. So we obviously have a problem here in this case. There are legal and ethical issues here, which I will obviously go through. 504 Rehabilitation Act states that no otherwise qualified individual with a disability in the United States shall solely by reason of his or her disability be excluded from the participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Miguel is being excluded and denied the benefits of his biology class. He's also being denied FAPE, which is all students with a disability are entitled to FAPE under the Individuals with Disabilities Act. Any school district must conduct or arrange for an individual evaluation at no cost to the parent before any action is taken with respect to the initial placement of a child who has a disability, or before any significant change in that placement. I understand that they met prior to Miguel's return to school, but I'm not sure that all the details had been worked out about his return to school and exactly what he would need from the school, from me as the principal, and from Mrs. Gussman as well. So let's talk about this in basically a sentence. Miguel Hernandez's rights at Nottingham High School are being violated due to the fact he does not have access to a free appropriate education that meets his needs following his injury he sustained as the starting quarterback for his high school team. Although there's a lot of unknowns in this case, here are the facts. People involved: Miguel Hernandez, the student in which we're speaking of, Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez, his parents, Mrs. Gussman, the staff member who changed his schedule, myself, the principal, Dr. Harvey, our superintendent, and Miguel's family attorney, Dr. Howard Carey. It's taking place at Nottingham High School, which we know is an activity hub of a community of Dover. The school itself was established in 1950, and about a fourth of its classrooms are still not up to accessible code. 3,200 students attend Nottingham High School. They do have some relocatable trailers that provide additional space for that building. And we're talking about that biology classroom that is not accessible to Miguel and his wheelchair. The program we know about, it's a supportive community. Everybody's a close-knit group and they support each other very well. It's got excellent academics and athletic teams. It does, however, lack funding, and it is, like I said, a public high school. So reviewing and prioritizing this case, I think there's a lot to it. and just a lot of unknowns. But using what I know and going with what I know, this is what we're going to go with. Miguel was denied access to his biology class due to his disability. As the principal, I'm curious if I knew about the situation or if the decisions that Ms. Gusman made were just on her own without meeting with me or discussing with me or any other stakeholders how we would move forward with Miguel when he did return to school. Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez, along with their attorney, feel as though FAPE is being denied. This situation could be terribly damaging to our stakeholders and our community, and it's important that we keep our tight-knit community together. I do not know if all the stakeholders have been contacted. We didn't hear much about Dr. Harvey being in the know or the school board or even any of the other teachers. We must try to avoid a lawsuit at all costs. Protecting the school and myself from legality is my job as the building leader. Mrs. Gusman, is she aware of the laws and responsibilities that schools have to follow, or does she maybe need additional training? Does Miguel need a 504 plan? Has that been discussed with his parents at all? It is our responsibility to prepare our students for college and career in life. Miguel should get to take his college prep biology class that he was previously attending prior to the injury. So some options and consequences in this case. I came up with 4 different options. Do nothing, which is, let's be honest, a terrible idea. Option 2, immediately make the biology class accessible for Miguel and others that will follow him, which would require new construction, time, and money. Option 3, allow Miguel to take the same biology class online. Or option 4, move Miguel's biology class to a classroom that is accessible to all students. So I weighed the pros and cons of all of these options. Like I mentioned, do nothing is a terrible idea. It's going to upset the family. It will damage our community. There's probably going to be legal repercussions on the horizon in this case if option 1 is the one we go with. Option 2, immediately make the biology class accessible for Miguel and others that will follow him. Like I said, new construction. The pros, it's one step closer to having the whole building accessible. The cons, it's probably going to take too much time and it can't be completed overnight to meet Miguel's immediate needs. Option 3, allow Miguel to take the same biology class online. The pros of this is he's still in the class and he takes the college prep class that meets the needs and the one that his parents obviously want him in. The cons, the parents could still be disappointed in this decision. It could still take legal action. And are we really supporting what's best for Miguel under his current circumstances? Option 4, reinstate Miguel in biology and potentially move the class to another classroom that is accessible to him. It would follow the ADA rules, FAPE, and IDEA, and it supports the well-being of Miguel. The cons, other students will have to change rooms and teachers won't be in his or her, whatever the teacher is, original space. So, as the building leader, I must advocate for the success and well-being of every student within our building. And as the building leader, I must make sure that every student has access to free appropriate education. In this case, I'm going to go with option 4, knowing what I know, with a few details maybe left out of this case study. But we will move the biology classroom effective immediately, and Miguel will be reinstated in his original biology classroom. The Hernandez family won't pursue legal action. The school and the staff will be meeting Miguel's needs, and the community will remain a tight-knit group. How will I implement this decision? I think there's a lot here and a lot of communication that needs to take place quickly. First, meet with Mrs. Gusman immediately following the phone call with Mrs. Hernandez to get a full scope of the situation and collect data. Cost of new construction. Is there a space for biology? What classroom will benefit? Remove the remote learning option that I also mentioned in time. Following that initial conversation with Ms. Gusman, I will update Mr. Harvey, again our superintendent, on the upcoming meeting and seek guidance as to his thoughts on the situation. Third, I will meet with the Hernandez family. We will discuss the expectations they have for Miguel and the requirements the school will follow. I will apologize for the lack of communication and the oversight on our part initially. I will allow the family time to voice their concerns and I will listen. I will inform them that Miguel will immediately be back in biology class and we will relocate that classroom to a different space in a short term and work to improve access within our entire building. At this point, we will discuss a 504. If they feel like one is necessary for Miguel, we will take the necessary steps to provide Miguel with a 504. Fourth, I will hold a meeting with the 2 teachers affected by the room swap and make sure they understand the implications for the school if we don't meet on common ground to make this switch for Miguel for the remainder of his biology class. If I've established a positive relationship with staff if I've established a positive relationship with staff and effectively communicated the laws with them, I anticipate this will be greeted with open arms, and we will do what's best for the student in our building. Fifth, I would review the laws and regulations that surround our students with disabilities in an upcoming professional learning day and make sure we are taking steps forward to make the necessary updates in our building to maintain an equitable, culturally responsive, and inclusive school culture. And lastly, I will monitor the situation in the weeks to come and keep all relevant stakeholders informed. I've thoroughly enjoyed this class. I've learned so much about special ed and becoming a building leader. This class took a lot of thought, and there's just so much material to go through when we're talking about our students with disabilities. So I've enjoyed listening to all of your presentations and looking at your work, and I just wish every student in this class the best of luck down the road in your educational journey. Thank you so much. Have a great day.